Welcome to the fifth day of our Aguinaldo reflections. For today, we are invited to reflect on stewards of the church. That's the theme for today, stewards of the church. As stewards of God's gift, we are not just merely passive beneficiaries, but we are actually called to become active collaborators and cooperators in the continuing redemptive work of Jesus. The redemptive work of Jesus did not stop during his time. Rather, he entrusted it to the church. And the church is truly alive by making Jesus' work and words alive in our own time and in our own generation. The mission is to proclaim, to teach, to serve, and to sanctify is also our task. It is the personal responsibility of each one of us. Now, all members of the church have their roles in carrying out this mission. For example, parents, you nurture your children in the light of the faith. Parishioners, for example, who work in concrete ways to make their parishes truly a community and a vibrant source of service to the broader community. And all Catholics who are generous in terms of their stewardship, that is in terms of their sharing of their time, talent, and treasure, is also making this reality of being stewards of the church alive in our present day and age. Now, let us connect that to the gospel. In this gospel, we heard about Mary telling the angel, "Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord." Now, the declaration of Mary showed to us that she is not just merely a passive recipient of God's gift, that after receiving the good news that she is to be the mother of the Lord, and then that's it. No. Rather, she said, "Let it be done unto me according to your word." In other words, she gave her consent. She gave her commitment. She gave her yes to the Lord. Mary is filled with vigor to make possible what the Lord planned. And so she said, "I am the handmaid of the Lord, be it done unto me according to your word." Now, many of us surrendered our roles as parents or leaders to the hands of technological and secular thought leaders. In other words, we have become passive victims of the systems that are around. I remember a few years ago, there was this entry in my bill because I tried to use a postpaid phone, and then there was this entry which I did not subscribe to, but there was this large amount that I'm supposed to pay for the items that were downloaded. There are actually games in the applications, computer applications in the phone. So I went to the company, to the telecom, and told them that I did not download nor subscribe to these services. You know what they said to me? "I'm sorry, sir, but you have already downloaded those things." But so I insisted I did not download those things. What will I do with games? I don't play games. Maybe if you say e-books, maybe. Instead they insisted, and you know the answer is, we cannot do anything about it. It is already in the system. The system. Every time you go and complain, they will tell you it is in the system. So what do? We are at the mercy of these technological and powerful commercial giants. It is the system. And because it is a system, you can't do anything. And so I understand sometimes that we become helpless in our endeavor to become active collaborators because it is already in the system. So if we want to have change, it should be a change that address the question of the system. not only in the system, in the church, for example, but also in the nation and in our own families, because we also have our own systems. That this system seems to be already infallible and unchangeable. And all you have to do is just to succumb and say yes. But that is not, of course, the attitude of a steward. The attitude of a steward is that he responds to the call of God in terms of love and in terms of justice. Now, parents nowadays seems to have surrendered their teaching role, their mission to the social media and to the government. Just look, for example, how many of you are aware of your children's curriculum in the school? Well, they are teaching already things that are not supposed to be taught at an early age, or maybe in the social media. Some of them are already watching pornography at a very early age because they have access to those things through the internet. Now, have you checked? Have you installed, for example, a kid protection in terms of the application or the program? Or are we still able to have the courage to rectify and to reprimand? Or sometimes we just say, well, this is how the world is, and so let it be. Now, for the clergy, as stewards of the church, we are also called to be renewed in terms of the way we do our ministry, and at the same time, to be relevant to the lives of the faithful. We have to adapt and to change also. Now, stewards do not merely take care, but they actually nurture the gift received from the Lord. The parish is the concrete manifestation of the church. Sometimes the word church can be so abstract, but we can gauge the quality of our engagement with the church by how we conduct ourselves in relation to our parishes. Now, in the city, for example, many of the faithful here are transparochial. They are not identified with a parish. Rather, they go to the parishes for convenience. Or for entertainment sometimes. I will go to this parish because, the choir sings very good and the priest is a good homilist. I would go there because the priest says very long homily. It's sleepy, getting sleepy. So sometimes it's out of convenience and entertainment. Well, if that is how we conduct ourselves, then that's how it is. But as I mentioned, the parish is the concrete manifestation of the community. And we are invited to become centers of responsible management of human and material resources that God has bestowed on the community. It is very sad to hear stories, for example, that there are faithful who don't go to their own parishes anymore precisely because, for example, they find their parish priest as soplado or unapproachable. Or sometimes it can be possible that the people surrounding the priest makes it a place that is not accepting, especially those, alipores of the priest, for example, that surrounds him. So maybe the priest is a good man and a very sociable man, but the people that surrounds him, the cordon sanitaire, as we call that, makes the other faithful to be distant from the priest because, si father lang niya, amo ni si father niya. So, my dear friends, it is in the parish that we can gauge the quality of our engagement as well as management. How is the parish managed in terms of the material resources? So, do you know where your money goes, for example? Just like in the government, this is where your taxes goes. Something like that in the, in the advertisements or in the announcements there. So, in other words, if we are stewards of the church, we also take care of the human resources that are the gift of the Lord and the material resources that are the gift of the Lord through the people. And both the priest and the faithful have their own responsibilities on how to manage and take care of this as a steward, receiving it as a gift of the Lord, sharing it in justice and love so that it can be returned to the Lord with increase. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you tomorrow for the 6th day of our Aguinaldo Reflections.